Welcome back, my fellow Chibits, to the weekly Hunter x Hunter manga chapter review. And so this time, I want to be reviewing chapter 378. Now, just to make a quick FYI before I start talking about this chapter, analyzing and stuff like that, I want to state that I will be going through the Viz Media translation once again. So if you notice on screen when I show the panels and stuff, the translation is different from the one you seen, then that's the reason. I'm going through the official translation of Hunter x Hunter. Now, anyways, with that being said, this chapter, it just made everything a whole lot more complicated. This entire arc, let's just be real here, it's complicated. There is so much going on. There's so many plot points, so many subplots, so many characters. You know, it's understandable if you can't keep track of everything. I mean, it's even hard for me to keep track of everything. I make mistakes constantly just because of how crazy this arc is. There's just so much going on at once that I can, completely understand why some would just have a hard time. But at the same time, though, that's what I love about Hunter x Hunter. It's a very complex series that you just gotta take a moment, sit back, think about it, reread it to understand everything, and just like, I love Hunter x Hunter. That's the sole reason why I love it, just how complicated it really can get. But anyways, though, this chapter introduces children that are from the king of Kakin, but they're not legitimate princes or princesses. They're not, proper heirs to the throne. They cannot participate in the succession war. And this automatically makes something that was already complicated even more complicated, because now we have more characters that to keep track of that we need to be very aware of. So the chapter opens up with these new characters talking about balance and stuff. Balance of, what's going on the ship. And we're introduced to this new character called, I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these names. I'm just going to be honest here. A lot of these names I know for a fact I'm not going to pronounce right. So just don't slit my throat, yelling at me and all that because I mispronounce a name. But I just want to say, though, that I want to be talking about them. I know I'm going to be mispronouncing their names. But anyways, we're introduced to this character talking about balance, and he's one of the Mafia. He's actually one of the leaders. He's the one that is tied to, Zhang Li, the third prince. His name is Ziyu, boss. Apparently, he is the half-brother to the king of Kakin, the main king that started all of this for this arc, Nasubi. So, yeah, this dude is his half-brother. So that means that this man has been around since, before the new princes were born, and when the king was fighting for his, throne, when he was fighting with his other siblings to be able to be the king of Kakin. So that's pretty interesting when you think about it like that. So this man is probably very aware of everything, of what has happened, and, he's just been controlling things behind the scenes. But getting right into it, though, he starts talking about power and all that, how power works and how there has to be a balance. He's like, okay, if a resource is limited, the more it needs to be divided, the less of a share you get. And for the halves to keep having, the majority need to get the short end of the stick. That's balance. Power works the same way. In fact, you need finer control. From extortion to war. Force is the most effective means for the quick redistribution of wealth. The have-nots must not be given power. So what he's trying to say is right now, when it comes to anything, there needs to be proper balance. And he's talking about how there's minority and majority. And the Mafia leaders, the Mafia in general, they are the minority. They are people that are the 1%. They are people that get majority of the benefits, while the others, they have to scrap together and try to get anything they can, while they all equally share things. So it's pretty interesting, how he's basically summing up how the world actually works. Politics, wealth, all of that, and power. And then the other Mafia head member from, he serves the Prince Luzarus. He serves the 7th Prince. They lack the equity of those with power. The spiders do. That's what he's trying to say. Freaks who couldn't even fit into Meteor City, it'll be difficult to control them. He's like savages who don't hide their talents and don't care about life or death. Some of my young associates are actually secret fans of theirs. So basically he's trying to say that the spiders, they hold a lot of power. They also could be the equivalent of the minority because of how crazy they are, how strong they are, but they don't hide their fangs. They don't know how to fit in with the minority. They're just outcast in general from all aspects, from the majority and the minority, and they don't really like how the spiders act. And then they start basically having a little conversation, says, reminds me of someone similar, push the envelope to become a boss. So basically to become the head honcho of something. So these two Mafia members, obviously, they've had a good connection for a very long time. They're both half-brothers to the King of Kakin, so most likely they're very aware of how the Secession War works, and they're probably talking about the original King of Kakin right now, Nasibi, how he got to, become the boss of everything, of the entire kingdom. Anyways, we're introduced to their goal, what they're trying to do. They're summoning in their, bodyguards, basically, their certain head guards, to be able to hunt down Hisoka. They want to find Hisoka before the spiders do. And the reason why is because they want to have the advantage on the spiders because, they're causing a lot of problems. They don't want to have the spiders causing problems on the ship. They want to be able to find Hisoka probably before they could keep everything quarantined and under control for the most part. That's what I'm assuming that they're trying to do. But getting right into it, though, they devise a plan, trying to figure out how they could, potentially get Hisoka, what they need to do to search for him, and they're like, okay, so most likely, if, you don't see a single person on board or whatever, then you need to search the, family. You need to search, the family of 3, you need to search the elderly, and most likely, if the person's really good, then they probably, they're a stowaway. That means they're not going to be on the list, and it's going to be even harder for them to be found. So, just overall, finding Hisoka is going to be extremely hard, especially since we know how he is, since he is someone that's able to change his appearance and be someone completely different. It's likely that even if he is registered, he could easily change his face back and forth, and so they're just not going to be able to find him properly. But they also offer up an award. They're saying, like, okay, so anyone that, manages to find Hisoka, give information, all that, we will give them 10 million. So there is a money reward that's going to get everybody hyped up and excited to be able to find Hisoka. So there's going to definitely be a lot of deaths. Definitely a lot of people going to die trying to find Hisoka. It's just bound to happen. So, anyways, we're introduced to another character, which is, this time, she is the daughter. She is a illegitimate daughter of Nasibi, the King of Kakin. So, what this means is that she's technically a sibling of the princes that are currently competing right now in the Secession War, which is just mind-blowing, because with these 3 introduced, okay, we gotta remember that these 3, they are the leaders of their own separate mafia groups, the 3 mafia groups as we know of, from what I remember. I could be wrong there, but that's what I'm assuming. Now, all 3 of these groups, they, are connected to their own benefactor, which is a certain prince. This girl that's introduced called, Marina, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She is connected to the 4th prince, which is, a niche, which, is Kurapika's main target. And we know how heinous that man is. He's also a specialist, so just, there's a lot of things here. So, she's obviously going to be probably the most important. Out of all the 3 characters that were just introduced, she's probably going to be the most important. Not just because of who she's connected with, but also because of her ability, her nin ability, which I'll talk about in a moment. But, anyways, she is the daughter. So, what this kind of lets us know is that there most likely could be other children. There can be other illegitimate children connected to the king. Either half-brothers, half-sisters, or daughters, or sons. Which, that is crazy. That means that there's a lot of potential for Togashi to introduce a lot more characters that are connected to the princes. Just saying. But okay, anyways, we get some clarification to why these 3 that were introduced have scars on their face. It is stated that at birth, when they are first born, they are marked. They are marked with this, razor, edge, knife edge, and they are cut on the face somewhere, and they get 2 lines, scars. And the reason why is, it's to show that they are not allowed to be proper heirs to the throne. But they're allowed to live. They're allowed to live as long as that they, hide. They stay in the shadows. They do not, come out into the open. So, it makes sense why they would probably be a part of the mafia, because, they're supposed to be in the shadow part of the world. They're not supposed to be in the limelight. And I do like that. That also lets us know that there probably is other siblings that are just hidden and nobody really knows about. I mean, it does make me wonder with how, she is very similar in terms of design-wise, and also in terms of just how her personality is. She's very similar to the 4th prince. So I'm curious if these 2 really get along well. I wonder if the 4th prince and her just really get along just because of how their personalities are. But, anyways, let's talk about her ability, okay? So, her ability is... Let's see, I want to read it here. Through the syllaba of member 0, the affected individuals multiply up to a maximum of 23, including Marina. Members level up as they kill, increasing total aura and power. Upon reaching level 20, their own ability emerges at level 100. The individual becomes a new member 0, and they can form their own community of infected. Civilians are worth 1 level. Those with abilities are worth 10. Now, this ability is extremely broken, but has its flaws. But I want to point out something, okay? It's very obvious that the way this is being designed, this entire Nin ability from her, this Nin ability is designed to give characters that already have Nin a potential power-up, aka Hisoka. I could definitely see Hisoka potentially becoming a part of this community of infected and gaining a new ability. Just the overall description of it is definitely just screaming Hisoka. For instance, civilians are worth 1 level. Okay, Hisoka kills a lot of people. Those with Nin abilities are worth 10. And we know Hisoka loves hunting down people with Nin. So, this alone is just perfect for Hisoka. It just screams something that Hisoka would be a part of. And I want to point out something about this. At level 20, when they reach level 20, they gain an ability. So, that would potentially mean that if they already have a Nin ability, they would gain another ability on top of that because of reaching level 20. And at level 100, they can become member 0 and form their new community. Now, many might think, okay, so that means that this ability could continuously be passed on and, more members can gain it and get a lot stronger. But that's the thing, though, that I need to point out. With this ability, if, let's say, Hisoka was to reach level 100, he would actually be able to create more Nin users, which then he can hunt down and kill. Think about how Hisoka is. He is someone that loves to, allow someone to grow, and then when they're ripe for the picking, he goes in, snatches them, and snuffs out their life. This type of ability is definitely something that Hisoka would love. Being member 0, creating people that he could hunt down for them to get stronger, and then take them down. That's just something I could definitely see. But I also want to point out that this Nin ability has its weaknesses. Member 0 is not protected. According to what this description is, there is no loyalty associated with it. You don't need to be loyal to member 0. All you need to do is be selected, and a kiss needs to be done, and then you gain abilities. Or you gain the permission to gain abilities and level up. And so in this case, with there being no loyalty attached to this at all, that means that it's open field, or open season for everyone. Everyone that, is a part of this community can hunt down each other. Think about it. If they all reach level 20, then let's say there's everybody's level 20, one of those members get a bright idea wait a minute. Let me go kill another member, because they obviously have an inability. So, they would automatically get 10 points, 10 levels. So that's what I'm trying to say here, is that there is a weakness here. No loyalty, and they can kill each other. And so, that means someone could go after member 0, kill member 0. There you go, end of discussion. And apparently, if you kill a prince, it's increased by 50. So, just all of this, the way this is stated, is that there's going to be a lot of backstabbing going on in these communities. And that is definitely a big thing. I definitely see all these members that were introduced, killing each other. I see it happening. Okay, so anyways, with that being said, though, it's not also clarified if level 100 is the max. I do want to point that out. It's stated at level 100 you can become a new member 0 and form your own community, but it's never stated if level 100 is max. Now, thinking of RPG, usually level 100 is the max, but there's a lot of games that do go over it, mainly Japanese games, actually. So, I could definitely see level 999 being the max or so. So, for all we know, you can continuously level up permanently, always increasing your aura and your power, which is insanely OP. So, someone like Hisoka having something like this, constantly killing people, getting stronger, it's a scary image. So, ability, from what is stated, there's a lot of, vagueness about it, and a lot of broken crap about it that just can be insane for this art. Anyways, let's continue on. So, we find out a little bit more about her personality. Apparently, she wants to just destroy the world. She doesn't care. She just wants to literally destroy the dung heap of this world. How the world is just trash. There's so many accidents, problems, and stuff. She just wants to get rid of it all. She just hates this world. And it also is stated that she apparently does actually care about her life. She actually, you know, like walks on a fine line on the edge of falling into darkness or falling on both sides, basically. She's always walking that fine line. And so, I do like to point out, I like her character a lot. I do feel like she's going to be someone very fascinating. Something tells me that she's going to receive a lot of character development. She might even change her ways and be a good person before everything is said and done. I don't know, just to have that feeling, because just how Togashi gave her this type of focus. Anyways, we move over into the Phantom, you know, Phantom Trope, the spiders and all that, and we get to see what they're exactly doing. And for the most part, they're, you know, forming a team. We have 3 members forming a team and all that, trying to, you know, hunt down Hisoka. But before they do that, they need to actually go get their weapons and stuff from the black market in storage. And eventually, they're walking through storage and all that, and, you know, Nobunaga, he senses something. He's like, wait a minute, someone just disappeared around that corner. He disappeared from my inn. He just literally disappeared without a trace, which is something very impressive, because it's not that someone was so fast they moved out of his inn. Literally, they disappeared. So that does mean that there was some form of ability that was used to cause that man to disappear. And they even discuss it. They're like, wait a minute, the man was around the corner and then he appears behind us. He's on the ground dead. What the hell's going on? They literally talk about it for like a second and a half, 2 seconds, and then they're like, it doesn't matter and all that. They go back to trying to find their weapons. And I'm just like, only the spiders would do something as heinous like that. They would think about what just happened. Someone just died. And they're like, yeah, no, screw it. And then they continue on with their time, their own things they're doing. I'm just like, okay, Phantom, you know, I see how you are. You don't give a crap if someone dies or whatever. I mean, they could potentially be hunting you down. You're not even going to question it. Just like, really? And I do like how stated your priorities are weird. Just like, it's hilarious. Anyways, a dude pops up through the ceiling, and it's obvious by this final page that he's being framed as Hisoka. Let me read this, okay? So, a random attack. Someone's randomly attacking civilians and all that, and you have the Zodiacs being called in. A random attack, people are killing people, and it doesn't seem like it's actually Nin. But apparently someone was attacking, and, you know, they're around 6 feet tall, 6'2", and they have a crescent scar on their left cheek. And at the final page, you see the dude with a crescent scar on his cheek. So, obviously, they're talking about this dude. But I don't think that this dude is Hisoka, because his height is obviously the same as Hisoka. I just don't believe so. I do believe that most likely the person performing the killings is, like, probably Hisoka framing someone. Maybe Hisoka's framing this dude, but you know, this dude right here at the final part of the page, like the final part of this chapter, he isn't Hisoka. He's being framed. Because he seems to have a fascination, judging by his, you know, inner monologue. He's like, that's the commando team for the notorious spiders for you. Electrifying, my idols. Let's destroy the world together. Just his dialogue does not scream Hisoka. He just seems more of a fanboy than anything else. So I just think, like, Hisoka is just framing this man to get killed, and that's about it. But, yeah, apparently he's also a level 21, too. That was stated. He is a level 21. So, he does have his own ability, which this ability is, you know, the ability to open up through the roof or whatever. So, he's got a crazy, you know, ability. But that's about it when it comes to this chapter. I mean, it's a good chapter. I mean, there's a lot of confusing parts, you know, in it. I like the dialogue. I think Togashi did an excellent job. So, let me know your thoughts. How do you all feel about this chapter? How do you feel about the new characters introduced? You know, things are getting a lot, you know, very complicated. But let me know your thoughts. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.